For the first time since the pandemic began, Dr. Fauci is finally speaking the truth, allegedly. The nation's top doc admitting this about his draconian lockdowns.
When you're dealing with a situation where the hospitals were being overrun in New York, intensive care units were being put in hallways, you have to do something that's rather draconian. And sometimes when you do draconian things, it does have deleterious consequences on the economy, on the school children. You know that, but you have to make a balance.
There he goes, smearing the Draconians again. How racist. Anyway, thanks to Fauci and teachers' unions, those school closures erased 2 decades of students' progress in math and reading. 2 decades. I didn't know that. And speaking of teachers' unions, leader Randy Weingarten blasting Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, saying it's his fault kids aren't thriving.
We would ask the governor, instead of smearing teachers, instead of calling them names, roll up your sleeves and work with us to actually help kids thrive. The people who are standing behind me, they want to teach kids. They want to make a difference in kids' lives. They didn't come into teaching to be demagogued, to be dehumanized, to be smeared.
Oh, do your job, for God's sake. Dana.
Yes.
What do you make of Fauci? Seems very defensive.
Well, the media tours continue, and I've always said that he probably would benefit himself if he did less media.
Right.
I've said that for a long time. Said that to him when he was on my show in the middle of an interview. I was like, you really should stop doing so much of this. Everyone at the beginning signed off on the lockdowns, even reluctantly.
Exactly.
Right now, I think what happened is the public health experts were then allowed to go way beyond their jurisdiction, because as I feel, this is how I feel it should work. Public health expert comes in and says, Mr. President, Mrs. President, whoever it is in the future, here's what we have. This is the situation. This is what we are recommending. And if we do this, X, Y, Z will happen. If you do that, ABC will happen. That's our opinion. But now we turn it over to you, the elected leader of the people of the United States, and then you get to decide, because you are the one that balances the risk and makes the decision based on that. So we got away from that. And you knew that right away when the schools were continuing to be closed, but we had new information. The new information said kids aren't spreading it. Kids aren't getting sick. Kids are falling behind in school. Nobody can deal with the Zoom classes. And they didn't change anything for 2 years. That's why Randy Weingarten is out there blaming DeSantis when he actually opened the schools. So I think the parents can figure that one out. And the other thing was just on businesses. So it was very strange. Why was it that Home Depot could be open, but the small mom and pop hardware stores had to be closed? And it became unfair and outrageous, and it's left a bad taste.
There were so many mistakes, Jessica. I think across the board, a lot of people made mistakes. But to Dana's point, is this something where when you have a lockdown, people didn't want to unlock it because if something bad were to happen, then they would be responsible for so there was a lot of kind of cowardice and covering your ass kind of mentality in all of these bureaucrats?
100%. They were going to be blamed for whatever happened if it did go wrong. And now they're getting blamed for what happened when it did go wrong. It was just the kind of wrong that we didn't think was going to happen in the first place. You know, this idea that kids are going to be fine, they're resilient. Children are resilient, but we know that they do need social and emotional connections with people, that they need to be interacting, they need to be in classrooms, they need to see faces. That's one of the strongest arguments against everyone's being masked in these environments. And now even the most liberal schools are saying that kids can take off their masks, and it's up to the parents to choose what they want to do with them. We've been presented with a lot of trade-offs. Remember when it was, you don't need a mask, but the truth was that we didn't have enough masks. And people in elected positions, bureaucratic positions, need to treat us like adults. People can make these decisions for themselves. We all take calculated risks, no matter what we're doing in the day. Crossing the street is a calculated risk when we're going to leave the building after this.
Especially now.
Yeah, just tell me.
Traffic's crazy. Anyway, we're running out of time, but this is something that is going to be pushed back against teachers, obviously, and Fauci.
Well, this is going to go on forever, Judge. The constant. Why can't he just let it go, retire, go play? Does he play golf? I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know
he should. What he does. He doesn't play baseball. That's for sure. Look, I mean, I'm tired of hearing from him. I'm tired, and I think everybody's tired of hearing him try to justify what he did. And then on top of it, you've got this like sandwich where Randy Weingarten is trashing Ron DeSantis and saying, you know, you should be working with us. No, Randy, you got the money. You should have opened the schools. And DeSantis was showing the country how Florida could open the schools, and the Catholic schools, the religious schools, and the charter schools that were all open. And I just think that this back and forth and you know, everybody's kind of tired of it. Fauci doesn't have credibility. And part of the reason is that a decision was made to listen to Fauci, as opposed to doing something like a Manhattan Project, where we brought in the best of the best, as opposed to a guy who's been there for 40 years, who makes all kinds of money, who's invested in all kinds of drugs, who was involved in gang of function funding. I mean, this is not the guy we shouldn't have been that we should have been listening to, and that's the one thing that I come away with. He was the wrong guy, and we should never rely on the one guy. I mean, certainly in the end, the president made the decision, but there should have been a panel of experts.
So, Jesse, why doesn't he just shut up and write a book?
He is, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
Yeah, the book
Keep
will
all
be
the
out.
tidbits for the book.
Yeah, the book will be out right when he leaves office,
Yeah.
so he doesn't have to face the Republican Congress. Randy's a viper, isn't she? Isn't she a vicious woman? If you're supposed to be all about the children, wouldn't you want to work with every governor? And that governor down there in Florida, he did right by the students. The Florida students probably did the best of any of the students. He didn't shut down any of the schools. And then he let the parents decide whether or not they were going to mask or not. So Fauci also took two positions on the lockdowns. He told Cavuto 4 weeks ago that he doesn't regret any of the lockdowns and the school closures did not harm the kids. And now he comes out and says, yeah, the school closures kind of harmed the kids. You think? You can't isolate a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old for 2 years when they're going through that developmental stage where they're learning how to be social and how to relate to people psychologically. These people are scarred for life, not to mention all the people that died from suicide and drug overdoses. I mean, the guy should be sued by every child in the country, class action, child abuse. I worked that pro bono, even though I don't even have a law degree.
I don't think you need one.
I don't think
your
so
skill.
either.
I think your skills are enough.
If I was charged with a crime, I would defend myself.
I think you should.
Oh, wow.
I think to prove.
Not a good idea.
I think to prove that you should go commit a crime and then defend yourself.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, thank you. Kilmeade's right out there. Just
Okay,
hit him in the
better.
back of the head. All right, up next, the latest act of liberal city depravity. A homeless man caught on camera throwing poop at people.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.